Head over to BoardGamePrices.com to find the best price and availability for thousands of games. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, it's all about hats of all different kinds and shapes and sizes and colors, but these hats have things to do with different fairy tales that you know about. Today we're taking a look at hats. This is a card game for 2 to 4 players. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. Now Hats is a card game for 2 to 4 players, and there's different suits that you see here, and the numbers range from 1 to 6, and there's one of each card. And the art in this game is just beautiful, and they all have some different fairy tales. Like this green one is the Wizard of Oz. You can see the green is sort of the witch's hat here, and the yellow brick road, and Little Red Riding Hood and stuff like that. Really cool theme to the cards. Now this game is best taught showing you the end first. Let's say this is the end of the game. You're always going to have 9 cards in front of you. Something like this, you're going to be building your own tableau, and there's always going to be cards on the board like this. Now at the end of the game, let's show you what you're trying to do. You're trying to have the most points. The twist here is that for each of the cards of a color that you have, you're going to find the color out on the board. You're not going to get points equal to the number here or the number here. You're going to get equal to the number on the board placement that it is. We have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So each red card you have is worth 6. So in this case, this card is worth 6 points, even though it has a 1, because that's where the red card scoring is. But if there's more than one of a color, the higher value, which is on the board, gets flipped and removed, which means the blues are only worth 1. So these ones right here are only going to get me 1 point each, or 2 points. We'll come back to this one in just a moment. This orange one's going to get me 6. Pink, well, I have none. These greens will get me 2 points each. Well, shoot, I have purples here. Purples aren't on the board. These are worth nothing. That's how you score. You're trying to have the most points. One final thing is you're also going to have your last card of your hand that you're going to play is going to be your favorite hat. And this scores a little differently. In addition to scoring on the board, like in this case 1 for each of these, your magic hat is going to allow you to score more by taking the value of these cards, in this case 5 plus 4 is 9, minus the value that I put down. So 9 minus 1 is 8. This is going to get me 8 points for my favorite hat. So that's the main ways to score is from the board and your favorite hat. And to add one more little twist, one player is going to get this cookie. We'll talk about how to get it, and this is also going to be worth points as well. It's about getting as many different suits as possible. So now that you know generally what you're trying to do, you're building a tableau and trying to get points basically of the highest value if you can, and also if you can pull out having high values of the same color and having that color be the last one in your hand with a low value to get a good magic hat point, that's also what you're trying to do. Now to play the game, each player is going to get 9 cards that are secret in their hand. On your turn, most of the time you're going to exchange a card, which means place a card on the board and take the card where that was on the board and place it in front of you. The cards that you play do not go back in your hand, and you're never actually gaining more and more cards each round. In fact, every time you play a card in a round, you're going to end up having 1 less. So as the game goes on, you're going to have less and less choices. Well, let's look at my hand here. Let's say, oh, look, you know what? I've got a bunch of blues. Maybe that's going to be a suit I want to focus on. So what I can do is I can exchange here. Now, when you exchange a card, if you're putting the same color, like blue with blue, I can place any number. So here, I'm playing blue for blue, I could play that. That would be my entire turn. Now in a future turn, let's just say the board looked like this. I want to get this 5 pink. I can actually only play something higher than that if I'm not trading it out with the same color. So if it's the same color, I could do anything. I could even trade it out for a 1 pink because it's the same color. But if I'm changing the color, it has to be higher, which means the higher numbers are harder to boot out. In fact, this would go in front of me. In fact, the only way to really boot out the highest number of a color, like this, which is 6, is for someone to kind of boot it out with the same color that's lower, and then someone else later maybe booting this out with a higher number of a different color. And that's sort of how that works. This is a really cool thing. It's like a napkin with a cookie. Now, as soon as someone starts playing cards, the one who has the most different suits will get this cookie, but it will move around to different players as soon as somebody has more unique suits. And if it's tied, it's whoever has the lowest number. Also, this will double as the score sheet at the end of the game, which comes with a dry erase marker. Now, another thing you could do on your turn, in addition to exchanging, which I showed you, is you can discard a card face down, and draw a card off the top of the deck. And this is trying to get you some cards maybe that you trying to formulate a strategy around something else, and you don't just have the card, so you can draw one. That's not your turn. You can do that every turn once. And one other thing you can do is instead of exchanging a card, you can just play a card from your hand face down like that. That is called a black hat. It actually counts as a suit when you're talking about the different number of suits for the majority, but these are essentially only going to be worth 1 point. At the end, you typically don't want to try to do those too much unless it's going to really gain you the cookie for the end of the game, because they're only worth a point and they're not going to get you anything else out there. I mean, that's the whole game, folks. It's that simple. Exchange a card or play one face down, possibly draw one. I mean, that's how simple the game is, but the crux of it is how we score it, which is what I showed you at the beginning of this video. First thing I love about this game is the great art. All the detail in each of those hats is just really cool. There's lots of, the more and more you look at the cards, the more and more little things you'll see in them. And it's always fun to try to guess the tales that is, whether it's Captain Hook or Little Red Riding Hood and things like that. It's fun to try to figure those out. This game has simple rules. I mean, you're just literally most of the time just exchanging a card. But with those simple rules, man, is there a lot of depth. This game is a brain burner. Reminded me a little bit of Arboretum, which was a card game I absolutely loved that had simple rules, but was, a brain melt. This felt the same way in that regard. Simple rules, tough choices, I mean. It just brought it in that way. I like that in this game you've got a plan, you're trying to figure out how to do things, but you always have to sort of pivot as the board state changes. So you're going for this, this is going, they have this, this is there, I was gonna go for this, but let me go for this. Because I like, you can discard and pick up a new card every turn as part of your turn, not as your action. And so you're able to sort of switch your hand out as things change to kind of go at different paths, and you're constantly trying to like weave in. Now you've got some ideas at the beginning of the game, but those are probably gonna change depending on what other players do, so there's a lot of player interaction. I like the sort of pressing your luck when trying to solidify a color. Meaning, you know what, I've got a ton of these colors in my hand, I'm gonna put this color down of the same color and take this one and put it in front of me. Towards the end, I'm gonna try to put something that has a high number there, like maybe a 5 or a 6. But if I do it too early, and you can sort of count the cards and see what's out there, if I do it too early, someone might throw a lower number of that color, and then someone else might throw a different color up there, kicking my color out of that big point thing. And it does take a couple people or a couple of turns to make that happen, but I like that you can kind of try to do it a little bit earlier to work on other things, and it's sort of a little bit of a press your luck element there. This game, it's I was sitting there with my game group, and even after playing it 4 or 5 times, we went, wow, for a simple game that literally you're just exchanging a card, it takes many plays to unlock for you to say, okay, I know what I'm trying to do, but I really have no idea how the heck how I should do this. It's just really cool when you have seasoned gamers that say that in such a simple game after so many plays, and you're like, I really still don't quite get it yet, but I like that because it took a long time to sort of unlock. I'd say after about 8 plays, I was kind of like, okay, I think I pretty much got to grasp what I'm trying to do. Now let me try to see if I can do it, and then like the strategies really start to come out like crazy. So again, such a light game, it has quite a bit going on. I like manipulating your hand for your favorite hat. You're trying to figure out which one do I have the most of, which one will I have the most of. I want a low number of that so I get the most points. And again, that part reminded me of Arboretum too, because you're trying to hold back cards that would probably help you, but you need to hold those back. It's just a good tension in the game. I like that most suits get you the cookie, which is 5 points, which is a lot of points in this game, because you're always constantly thinking, should I go for this color? Should I try to spread out? Good decision in all of this. Each play count feels very different. Now, for some people, this is going to be a positive. I think this is a positive, but some people, this might be a negative, because a 2-player game is very cutthroat. A lot of times, you're seeing what they're doing, and you're trying to maybe follow them to kind of like, you're going to go with this? Well, I'm going to go with this too, to try to like, I think you probably have more than me, but I'm going to try to cut you off at the pass and try to like make yours not as big of a difference than mine. So it's very cutthroat with 2 players, very back and forth. 3 players is definitely the sweet spot of this because it's still just person versus person. The board state changes more than in a 2-player game, but not enough that it's like it feels like totally random. And then you have the 4-player, which is the team version, which is very interesting. But it brings me to sort of a little bit of the negatives that we'll go to, so we'll touch on that in just a moment. But the 4-player definitely feels different because it's that partnership game, which we all did very, very, very much like. On the negative side, it's simple, yet it is definitely hard to grasp the first few plays. You can show someone the end of a game before you even teach it to them and go, look, this is how things score, this is what you're trying to do. But again, it's going to take them a while to really catch on. But once it unlocks, man, is it good. Also, I wouldn't recommend the 4-player game if all 4 players haven't played before, because knowing what to pass and when to pass to your player is huge, because there's certain things you can't say, but you might want to pass some things that you want, pass some things and say, hey, I need low ones of this color, or hey, I'm going to be working on this color, and pass it to them. It's really just adds another layer of like, I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to be doing. And if you, so yeah, 4 players, I wouldn't play unless you've all played before, because it does have another layer of complexity. And the game doesn't need to be any more complex when you first start it, because there's simple but a lot to think about. So that's the hat. I really love this game. I love card games. I love simple games that have such depth. So without further ado, this game is going to be getting a saxophone serenade, because it's going to be staying in my collection for all those reasons. So before we add it with that serenade, this has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships through board games by helping you find the next one you'll love. Did you miss the Game Topper 2.0 Kickstarter? Have no fear, it's not too late to get in on the ultimate gaming accessory. Convert your table into a high-quality gaming table with a fully portable Game Topper system and take advantage of some of the best 3mm premium gaming mats in the industry. New styles, new sizes, and new accessories can be yours. Upgrade every game you play by late backing now at GameToppersLLC.com.